First of all, what do you think of the shot? Went out to a national forest to film this because Elon Musk and many others have said reality is a simulation. It sounds insignificant, but once you understand, a simulation means you can control it if you have the code. Then the only question is, how do you recode your simulation so you can change your bank account, your love life, your career, and get everything that you want in life? In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to do that. What if you were placing a big bet like on the lottery and you stood to make a whole bunch of money? And what if the richest person in the entire world said that your chances of losing are only 1 in a billion? Be pretty good odds, you'd take the bet. Well, Elon Musk says there's only 1 in a billion chance that this reality that you're living in right now is not a simulation. And we hear that word thrown out, reality is a simulation. But what does it really mean? How does it affect you? The reason I asked you about if you were placing a bet on the lottery is because understanding how the simulation works, as you're about to see, can be worth millions of dollars to you. For big idea number one, let's talk about what does a simulation actually mean, right? And that word is thrown out so much, either seriously or half jokingly when someone's talking about something really crazy that happened. And they're like, oh, it's a simulation. And Elon Musk said it a whole bunch of times on Joe Rogan. He's reiterated it many times outside of that. Let me just tell you why it matters and how you can use this frame of mind to totally bend your reality and actually control the simulation. So if you keep watching, you're going to know exactly how you can control it. For more money, to improve your health, to change your relationships, to attract new people into your life, and to really get whatever you want in your life. So if you imagine that you're sitting down to watch Netflix, basically every movie and every show ever made exists simultaneously on this platform, right? And you choose which one you watch. Your reality for the next 1 to 2 hours is based off of your choice, what you're gonna watch. You have the remote control and the power of decision is in your hands while you're watching Netflix. And that's what the simulation means. It opens the door to infinite parallel realities. So imagine it like Netflix, but instead of shows and movies that you're choosing from, the simulation means there's an infinite amount of parallel realities for you to choose from. And every possible version of your life is like a title on Netflix, and they're all happening simultaneously, and you get to pick the specific outcome. You get to choose what you tune into. And if you don't like the personal reality, the movie that you're watching and that you're living in, you can grab the remote and you can pick a new one. And another way to look at this is imagine that you're stepping onto an elevator with infinite buttons, but each button represents a different floor or a different parallel reality of your possible future. And the floor that you arrive on depends on the button that you press. That's why it's so important to understand you are living in a simulation and you can control it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they're like the buttons. And when you focus on a specific outcome, you're essentially pressing the button that takes you to that reality. And to experience a higher, more desirable floor, you have to align your energy, which is your thoughts, your emotions, and your belief systems with that reality. And once you do this, you cannot stay stuck on the ground floor. You can literally move to a different level. So if we make this really personal, so it makes total sense for you and me, think about your career or your relationships or where you want to live. Right now, you're on a certain path. You're earning a specific amount of money. Maybe you're working in a certain job, you're dating someone specific, or you're looking for a relationship. But in this Elon Musk simulation parallel reality world, there's an infinite amount of views and different versions of yourself that are all happening. It's like a massive freeway system. So if you picture your life like a giant freeway system, right now you're driving on the current job freeway, the current earning freeway, $50,000 a year, but up ahead there's an exit sign that says pursue new career now or make $100,000 now. You can merge onto a new road and then that takes you to an entirely new reality or like a new freeway system. This is how the entire thing works. Everything that you want or could have already exists at a different frequency pattern that we cannot see, but we can tap into that. That's the many world theories, and that's what simulation and parallel realities is all about. The good news is, if you thought you were stuck where you are, turns out our only reason we think we're stuck that way is that we've been so conditioned to only believe in what we can see, smell, taste, and touch. So we reinforce our own mental prison, our own personal reality prison, by our belief in only what our senses can perceive. But there's another way. The first thing to know is you are your own player. You're running your own video game. So if life is a simulation and you think of yourself like a player in a video game, kind of like The Sims or Grand Theft Auto, you have free will to explore, to make choices, and to create outcomes in the video game. You operate within a certain set of rules in this reality too. And you can level up by actually understanding that this is a game and that there is a code that you can actually hack the same way in a game. And you do this by upgrading your character. Your character is you. You do this through understanding that consciousness creates reality. And that, as Elon says, there are certain mind viruses that are keeping your character or your player at a certain level in the game that we call reality or life of the simulation. The mind virus is really a collection of subconscious beliefs, patterns, thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that control your entire reality. Psychologists tell us 95% of the subconscious mind controls our entire life. How much money you make, who you attract into your life. And they also tell us that 70% of that programming is negative and redundant. So we're running on all this really crappy programming. The key is to detach from fear. Understand, just like a video game, why do people get so into video games? One of the many reasons is there's no real fear of loss. There's no real fear of failure. It's just a game. Approach your life the exact same way and just go, what's the best that could happen? What's the best that could happen? So the entire key to changing it is changing the code, deleting the mental viruses. And when you do that, you can change the entire reality. Because if reality operates similar to a program or a game, then your beliefs, that's the code. The easiest way to rewrite this code is to understand you are under a state of hypnosis. First, you identify the limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough. For me, it was that I was too young to make money as an author. I dropped out of college and I was 21 years old and I wasn't sure if I could do it. My five senses told me I couldn't. All the book publishers said no. So I thought I was too young. I thought I wasn't smart enough. I failed junior English class in high school. I wasn't exactly the great student. But I learned about the subconscious and I said, what's the best that could happen? You see all these athletes, all these entertainers, they all use hypnosis to reprogram their subconscious because rationally, if it controls 95% of your life and you believe you aren't good enough, you aren't smart enough, money is evil, that there's love is pain, that there's no good guys out there, there's no right women out there, naturally, that subconscious programming will dictate what you manifest as your physical reality. Mark Twain had a quote and he said that it's not what you know that'll hurt you, it's what you believe that ain't so. What I invite you to do as a first step is, what do you believe that isn't actually true? We think it's true, it feels absolutely true because it's also been emotionally ingrained into the cells of our brain, it's our nervous system, our cells remember it like a trauma you had where now you don't think you're good enough for love or good enough for money or whatever it is that you went through in your life. It's okay, you can release it. Now, once you identify that, then you want to reprogram it. Here's exactly what I did. You can take it and use it exactly as I did, or you could take pieces of it. But I can tell you this works to change the reality. What I did, once I found out, okay, I believe I'm too young and I believe I'm not good enough and all these crappy beliefs, I was like, what if I just actually hypnotized myself to believe that I was a millionaire author? Sounds like the silliest thing in the entire world, especially because I was a long-haired hippie, barefoot kid, dropped out of college. I'm like, I'm gonna sell all these books, millions of them. And every publisher's like, wow, this kid is insane. And what I did is I recorded a hypnosis. I listened to it every day, and then over and over, I would write out, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a millionaire author and speaker inspiring millions of people. And I'd rewrite it like thousands of times. I'd put it on index cards and I'd carry the index cards with me. I'd read it out loud and talk to myself in the mirror and tell myself about how awesome it was that I was a millionaire author inspiring millions of people. That sounds insane, But think about it like this. Every time you do anything, whether it's real or imaginary, you're activating cells. That's what in your brain. That's what allows any thought to occur, any action that your body takes. So when you're doing this over and over, what I did is I was activating the cells of being a millionaire author before I was one. And then there was this point where I started to believe it so much, it actually became annoying because reality hadn't changed yet. I'm like, this feels so real. Like, why isn't the world changing? And that's when you take a clothes hanger, you snap it on your head, on your forehead, and then you do like a primal, like, "Rah, why is it?" But just after that, it's a time lapse. You have to change the brain circuitry, and then there's a time lapse period between it manifests. It's called the gestation and incubation period. Everything has it. You put a tomato seed in the ground, it's not going to be a tomato plant in one day. There's a certain period of time, I don't know if it's 60 days or 70 days for a tomato seed. That's different than a zucchini. That's different than an apple tree. And it's different gestation and incubation period to have $1 million in your bank account, or 100,000 in your bank account, or attract your soulmate, or to get married, or to have your first child, even though the doctors told you that it was going to be actually impossible for you chemistry-wise for you to have a kid. That is just a physical evidence thing that has been programmed into our brain. And there's many such instances of all kinds of miracles of people that were able to allow that seed to have its fruiting period, the gestation and incubation period. Then your outer world changes. So what I invite you to do is build your own mental programming time. I recommend you get my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. And then get a journal that you want and start for 5 to 10 minutes a day, writing it over and over every single day. Read it out loud after. Before you go to sleep, what you want to do is practice entering that picture before bed, because your conscious mind is going to shut off. And when your conscious mind shuts off, you have direct access to your subconscious mind. And you're going to get to a point when you're practicing, rehearsing this, where you'll start dreaming of it. When you start dreaming of it, it has totally absorbed and entered into your subconscious mind. And then it's just a matter of time until it manifests in your life. The most important quote to remember: lack of evidence is not evidence of lack. Lack of evidence, meaning the evidence of your 5 senses. Why haven't my books got published yet? That's evidence of the senses. When I started to ignore that and I was in this inner picture, I'm like, the outer world isn't even more real than my inner world. When I got to that point of training my brain that way, what happened was, that's when everything started to happen. I was selling my books out of the trunk of my car. The next thing I know, I get a TEDx speaking opportunity. That goes viral. The next thing I know, I get an opportunity to be on George Norrie, Coast to Coast AM radio with a couple million people in the middle of the night. That sells a bunch of books. The next thing I know, I get an opportunity for this and this. That leads to a book deal with Penguin Random House, the #1 English publishing company in the world, when I'm 23 years old. That leads to them being translated in other languages. That led to a random YouTube video going viral. And then all of a sudden, I was generating over 1 million website visitors to my jakeducey.com website that were looking at my book and all my stuff. The next thing I know, everything took off. And it wasn't something that I consciously put the work in to make something happen. Like, yes, this was my specific marketing hack. None of that. It just occurred because the brain changed. That will show you this reality is a simulation. You can control it and you can bend it how you want. Get my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com. Test this for yourself. You have nothing to lose. What's the best that could happen? If you suspend your disbelief, what new things might occur in your life? So get it for free, jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned in the comments and in the description. If you enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, bell notification, and click here to watch my Elon Musk's 1111 codes video.